Status Quo have recorded many, many cover versions over their long career, putting their stamp upon, or quoing up, as they say, tracks including, most famously, John Fogerty's Rockin' All Over the World. In the 90s and noughties, later in their career, Status Quo also recorded 3 covers albums, some would say infamously. But you don't hear a lot of instances where Status Quo originals have been covered by other artists. And I'm not including cover bands or tribute bands in this. I'm talking about an artist who performs original songs and then occasional covers and things, and has a rather large mainstream footing. You just don't hear on it. And as I've kind of implied, Rockin' All Over the World doesn't count because it wasn't a Status Quo original. There are a handful of examples out there, such as Ozzy Osbourne doing Pictures of Matchstick Men, but I am struggling to think of many occasions where Quo have been covered. That is until recently, when it was brought to my attention that a band in America have not only recorded a Quo cover, they've released it as the lead single from their new album. And this is incredibly exciting because I love hearing people's interpretations of Quo's music, and most interestingly, because it's coming from stateside. Now, the band are called Yachtley Crew, who are a yacht rock band formed in LA in 2017, and they play in their set mainly 70s and 80s soft rock. And as the name implies, their stage show is them dressed up in nautical gear. And they've been running, as I say, since 2017, and in the last few years have started playing national tours around America. And they released their first album, Seize the Day, as in SEAS, in 2023. And the other day, they announced that they were releasing a festive album, a holiday mini album called Seize, as in SEAS again, and Greetings. And it includes, in no particular order, an original song called Home for Christmas, Happy Christmas or Xmas, War is Over, a John Lennon Yoko Ono cover, Please Come Home for Christmas, which was originally recorded by Charles Brown, later by the Eagles. I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day, a Wizard cover, which I don't think is that well known in the US. And starting off the EP, or mini album, is a version of Status Quo's It's Christmas Time. Now, I will talk about the track It's Christmas Time. I'll give you a little bit of a history of it. So it was first released in December 2008 by Status Quo. It was written by Rick Parfitt and Wayne Morris, produced by Pip Williams. And 2008 was a bit of a changing of the guard for the way in which the music industry worked. Because in the last couple of years from there, they had put downloads in as eligible for the chart, and Woolworths were on their way out that Christmas as well. So under old money, Quo probably would have charted quite high, comparable with, say, Party Ain't Over Yet, perhaps, which got 11 in 2005. But It's Christmas Time, now considered, I think, a festive cult classic, very underrated, got to number 40 in the UK charts. Now, like I say, those factors as well, and it was also included on a Christmas compilation that year. So there were many factors. So it did surprise me to see that an American band were covering it. Like, where did they find out about it? Because Status Quo in the US are essentially one-hit wonders known for Pictures of Matchstick Men way back in 1968. And while they did tour there, either as support or maybe in smaller gigs by themselves over the decades, they're not exactly mainstream. And a little bit like artists like Cliff Richard, maybe one or two tracks hit, but not in a massive way. So it really did surprise me, especially It's Christmas Time, which, as I say, is something of a cult classic here. Like, people know about it, but I think if it had been recorded earlier, it would be considered much bigger, you know, up there with Slade and Wizard. Intrigued by how an American band came to know this minor UK hit, I reached out to them and they've sent me this quote. When we were breaking ground on recording a Christmas record, our manager, Andy Gould, had mentioned the Status Quo song, It's Christmas Time. Being from the UK, Andy thought it would be a great song for us to add to our collection. When we listened to the song with our producer and mix engineer, Chris Lord Algie, we all knew we just had to record it. Well, thank you to Yachtley Crew for sending me that quote, and it does make sense that someone from the UK, you know, took it to them, and now it's included on their Christmas mini album, which is coming out in December on Earache Records, which coincidentally, it seems, is the same record label that Massive Wagons are on, and we all know the Quo connection with that. The other thing that kind of surprised me a little bit was Chris Lord Algie, who produced this record. He's known for working with Bruce Springsteen, Green Day on American Idiot and other things, and also Stevie Nicks as well. So what a pedigree to tackle a new version of a Quo classic that I'm sure he probably hadn't heard before either. So I'm sure we've all heard the Quo original. It's got those bells at the beginning and it's like the chugging Quo thing. And I love in the chorus, it's catchy, but we've got that da 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 da, like it just sounds like Status Quo. And there's kind of throwbacky things in there. The lyrics are perhaps not as original because Christmas songs, they don't need to be original. They're sort of about, well, Christmas, and there's very similar themes in there. They're talking about snow and Santa and bells and stuff, right? With the Yachtley Crew version, which is available as a music video and now available to download, and I think it's being brought out on vinyl and CD and everything, alongside these other tracks, I like the way in which they've carried on this spirit from the original, but they've changed little bits. Like the intro doesn't have that weird bell thing, which kind of goes along with Quo's thing of like, you think it's going to be different, and then it sounds like Status Quo. They kind of have done that a few times over the years, I think, as like a little surprise, and it fits in with the festive theme along with the bells. But Yachtley Crew, what they've done is they've taken the chorus and brought it in, and then you get the da-da-da, and I love the production on this. Chris Lord Algie's done a great job with it because that snare percussion there, it kind of reminds me of Stars on 45 or something like that, where you just want to move your feet, you know, and just dance around to it. The prominent kind of snare and bass drum in there, and you still got the chugging, but I think from what I'm hearing, the da-da-da-da-da is missing because that's a Quo specific thing, and these guys, you know, play soft rock and stuff, so it's more in line with that. But I love the way in which they've kept the spirit and the certain elements of the original arrangement, and they've added things like they've not tried to do a like for like of the solo, for example, apparently played by Wayne Morris on the Quo record. I love the way they've done that. There are extra breakdowns in the middle, and it just sounds more like there's sort of a softer edge to it, like I say, but it works totally. And I look forward to hearing what they do with arguably more famous, well, not even arguably, more famous Christmas songs, especially Wizard's I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day, you know, which has been covered loads of times. And I think that's what is so unique about this, is that Quo don't get, as I say, they don't get covered that much, and it's Christmas time is perfect, I think, for covering, as all great Christmas songs are. You know, anybody can kind of put their own stamp on it. And I think what Yachtley Crew have done here, from a Quo fan's perspective, I love it. I think it really works. You know, they've made it their own, as it were. And I know that there will be Quo fans who will say, well, also, them performing this song, potentially at live gigs and being played on the radio and on television, they are exposing an area of Quo as well to that audience. And I'm sure there will be some research. At least one fan, you know, one person will reach out and find this stuff, because I have seen people ask if it's an original, because obviously that song in the States is completely unknown. And I love the way that they've done that. They've obviously listened to people, including this manager from the UK, and just gone with it, you know, not got kind of weighed down. Yeah, that's where I was going. They haven't sort of got weighed down by like reputation, because some people, I guess, would think that covering Quo was some kind of like drawback or like down thing. Whereas they've listened to the composition and they've gone, we like that. You know, it shows the strength of the composition. So that is my analysis and review of Yachtley Crew's version of It's Christmas Time, which is out now as a single and soon to be included on their mini album Seas and Greetings on Earache Records. Let me know what you think, and thank you so much to Yachtley Crew for helping me with this episode. What do you think of It's Christmas Time, the composition? Do you think it's stood the test of time? I think so. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you again for another episode of the Quo-Cast.